Welcome to our deep dive into Ikigai and longevity. I'm so excited to dig into all this material you've given me.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating collection of excerpts from books, scientific studies,
Mm.
even some philosophical quotes,
Yeah.
all focused on this intriguing concept of Ikigai,
Right.
finding purpose and joy in being busy and how it could be the secret to a longer life.
And it's really interesting how much of it focuses on Okinawa, Japan.
Oh, absolutely.
A place with one of the highest concentrations of centenarians in the world.
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, what is it about their lifestyle that contributes to such a long lifespan?
It really does. And the sources suggest it's not a single magic bullet. It's more like a synergy of factors.
Yeah.
Their diet, their outlook on life, their community, how they view work and retirement. For example, the concept of moai really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah.
These informal social support groups that Okinawans form.
Yeah.
They seem to act like lifelong friend networks that provide emotional and even financial security.
Yeah, that's a key point.
Yeah,
Moai aren't just social clubs.
right.
They're deeply woven into the fabric of Okinawan's life.
Yeah.
This kind of built-in support system can significantly reduce stress and foster a profound sense of belonging,
Right.
both of which are linked to better health and longevity.
Absolutely. And speaking of ingrained social structures,
Yeah.
Yuimaru, the emphasis on teamwork and helping one another
Right.
is instilled in Okinawans from a young age.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on individual achievement, they prioritize collective well-being.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if this focus on community and collaboration
Yeah.
contributes to their overall sense of purpose and belonging,
hmm
which could then have a positive impact on their health and longevity.
I'm also fascinated by the idea that there's no word for retirement in Japanese.
Oh, interesting.
Okinawans stay active and engaged in meaningful ways throughout their lives.
Right.
There's no sudden stop and drop everything mentality like we
Yeah.
often see in Western cultures.
Yeah, that's a powerful contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Okinawan approach reframes aging not as a decline, but as a continuation, a time to repurpose your energy and find new ways to contribute.
And they seem to do it all at a much more relaxed pace than what many of us are used to.
Oh, for sure.
It's like they prioritize savoring the journey rather than rushing towards a destination.
Yeah, I see that reflected in the sources as well.
Yeah.
The Okinawan pace of life is described as unhurried, and they always seem to find time for celebrations,
Right.
whether it's a birthday, a festival,
Right.
or simply gathering with friends and family.
Yeah.
They prioritize moments of joy, which could certainly contribute to a more positive outlook on life.
Absolutely. This focus on joy and purpose.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Viktor Frankl's work on logotherapy, which is also included in these materials.
Oh, yeah.
His emphasis on finding meaning in life as a driving force for well-being
Right.
seems to resonate strongly with the whole concept of Ikigai.
They are definitely interconnected, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
If Ikigai is the what
Yeah.
makes your life worth living,
Right.
then logotherapy provides the why,
Yeah.
the deeper meaning and purpose behind those actions.
That's a great way to put it. And that story Frankel tells about the mother who finds renewed purpose in caring for her paralyzed son
Right.
after experiencing a devastating loss, it really highlights the transformative power of meaning, even in the darkest of times.
It's a powerful example of the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah.
It speaks to the idea that we all have the capacity to find meaning,
Yeah.
regardless of our circumstances.
Right.
Perhaps that's a key takeaway for our listeners, that cultivating a sense of purpose can be a powerful tool for navigating life's inevitable challenges.
Absolutely. And this leads us to another concept highlighted in the material's flow.
Oh, yeah.
That state of total absorption in an activity where time seems to melt away.
Right?
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research on this is fascinating.
What's fascinating to me is that flow isn't limited to artists or musicians.
Right.
It can be experienced in any activity,
Yeah.
even something as simple as gardening or cooking,
Right.
if approached with the right mindset.
The sources also mentioned the takumi, these incredibly skilled Japanese artisans who dedicate their lives to mastering a craft.
Right.
It seems like they achieve a state of flow through their meticulous attention to detail and
Yeah.
dedication to their chosen pursuit.
And it's not just about achieving perfection.
Right.
It's about finding fulfillment in the process itself, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
The story of Steve Jobs' fascination with the takumi spirit and his admiration for the Japanese porcelain artist Yukio Shakunaga. It illustrates how this concept resonates across cultures, and industries.
Such a great example. It shows how this pursuit of mastery and finding joy in the details can be applied to any field, not just traditional arts and crafts.
Precisely. And even if we're not all master craftspeople,
Right.
the sources suggest that we can still experience flow in our everyday lives through microflow by adding small challenges or finding ways to make routine tasks more engaging.
Like Bill Gates finding flow in washing dishes.
Exactly.
It sounds silly, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you can approach any task with intention and focus, you can find moments of flow and enjoyment, even in the most mundane activities.
So we've talked about the importance of purpose, community, and flow, all crucial aspects of the Okinawan approach to life.
Yeah.
But there's another piece of the puzzle that we can't ignore, your diet.
Right. The Okinawan diet is legendary for its emphasis on whole foods, especially vegetables, and its unique approach to portion control, embodied in the principle of hara hachibu. Hara hachibu, eating until you're 80% full.
Right.
That's such a simple yet profound concept.
It is.
It encourages mindful eating and helps avoid the overeating that's so common in many cultures.
It's a reminder to pay attention to our body's signals and to eat with intention rather than mindlessly consuming until we're stuffed.
Right.
And it seems to be working for the Okinawans.
Yeah.
Their rates of obesity and related health issues are remarkably low.
And it's not just about portion control. They also prioritize variety in their diet.
Oh, absolutely.
The sources mention that Okinawan centenarians eat an average of 18 different foods each day.
Wow.
That's a lot of variety.
Variety is crucial for ensuring a wide range of nutrients, and it seems the Okinawans intuitively understand this.
Yeah.
And speaking of nutrient-rich foods, we have to mention shikuwasa.
Oh, yeah.
This is a unique citrus fruit that's almost exclusive to Okinawa.
It's packed with antioxidants.
Right.
Especially nobilitin, something like 40 times more than oranges.
Wow.
What's fascinating is that studies have shown nobilitin may have a variety of health benefits, including reducing inflammation and improving cognitive function.
It's a perfect example of how the Okinawan diet, with its emphasis on variety and locally sourced foods, can contribute to longevity and well-being.
Right.
But it's not just about what they eat.
Right.
It's also about how they move.
That's a good point. The materials highlighted how much the Okinawans incorporate movement into their daily lives, even if it's not formal exercise.
Right. They don't necessarily hit the gym every day.
Right.
But they are constantly active.
Yeah.
Gardening, walking, doing housework, participating in community events.
The sources even mention Radio Taiso, this nationwide morning exercise routine that millions of Japanese people do every day.
It's amazing.
It's just a few minutes of simple stretches and movements.
Yeah.
But it gets their blood flowing and their bodies moving.
It's a great example of how integrating small, consistent habits into your daily routine can have a significant impact on your overall health.
Right, exactly.
And it speaks to the idea that movement doesn't have to be strenuous or time-consuming to be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, we can't forget about practices like Tai Chi and Qigong.
Right.
These ancient movement arts that emphasize stress reduction, balance, and energy flow.
They're wonderful examples of holistic practices that cultivate both physical and mental well-being.
Absolutely.
And speaking of mental well-being, the sources delve into the concept of resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks. What are your thoughts on how this ties into the Okinawan lifestyle?
Well, I think it's a key component.
Yeah.
The Okinawans, like everyone else, face challenges and hardships in their lives.
Right.
But they seem to have a remarkable ability to adapt, persevere, and find strength in adversity.
And this resilience may be linked to their strong sense of community, their purpose-driven lives, and their focus on finding joy in the everyday.
It's like they embody the idea of anti-fragility, not just surviving challenges, but actually becoming stronger because of them.
Nassim Taleb's work on anti-fragility is mind-blowing.
It is. It is.
He argues that some systems, like the human body, actually benefit from stress and disruption.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding challenges altogether, but about building systems that can adapt and grow stronger in the face of them. And the sources use the example of the 2011 tsunami in Japan to illustrate this concept.
Oh, right.
While some communities were devastated and struggled to recover, others, perhaps those with stronger social bonds and a more adaptable mindset, were able to rebuild and even thrive.
It's amazing, yeah.
It makes you wonder if there are lessons we can learn from these contrasting experiences.
I think so.
How can we cultivate more anti-fragility in our own lives and communities?
Well, the sources offer some practical suggestions.
Yes.
One is to create redundancies in our lives.
Okay.
Don't rely on just one source of income, one social circle, or one passion.
Right.
Diversification is key.
So spreading our energy and resources across multiple areas can help us become more adaptable and less vulnerable to setbacks.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
The Okinawan Centenarians, for example, often have multiple occupations,
Right.
often combining their primary work with something like gardening or fishing.
Exactly. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. Another suggestion is to take a balanced approach to risk.
Okay.
Be conservative in some areas of your life, but embrace calculated risks in others.
It's like finding the sweet spot between playing it safe and pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones.
Exactly.
Maybe we could apply this by being responsible with our finances, but adventurous with our creative pursuits or travel plans.
Precisely. And finally, the sources emphasize the importance of identifying and eliminating the things that make us fragile.
Okay.
This could mean toxic relationships, unhealthy habits, or even possessions that weigh us down.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
It's not just about adding positive things to our lives,
Right.
but also about subtracting the things that drain our energy or hold us back.
It's about creating space for growth, both physically and mentally. And this ties in beautifully with the principles of wabi-sabi,
Yeah.
finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence.
Which, in turn, brings to mind the concept of ichigo-ichi,
Right.
cherishing the present moment because it's fleeting and unique.
Right.
It's about savoring every experience, every encounter, as if it were the first and last time.
And these concepts are deeply ingrained in the Okinawan culture.
Yeah.
Their architecture, their rituals, their way of life. It all reflects an acceptance of the ephemeral nature of things.
It's like they've embraced the natural cycles of life, the
Yeah.
ebb and flow, the beauty of impermanence.
And this acceptance seems to foster a sense of peace and contentment,
Right.
which could contribute to their overall well-being and longevity.
Speaking of peace and contentment,
Yeah.
the sources also touched on the importance of managing stress and negative emotions, which can take a toll on our health and longevity.
Absolutely. And this is where practices like mindfulness and Stoic philosophy can be incredibly helpful.
I'm a big fan of both.
Yeah.
The Stoics were all about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't.
Right. And mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment,
Yeah.
which can help us detach from them and respond in a more skillful way.
Both approaches seem to cultivate a sense of inner peace and resilience in the face of life's inevitable challenges.
And that resilience, as we've seen, seems to be a hallmark of people who live long and fulfilling lives.
It's not about avoiding challenges altogether,
Right.
but about equipping ourselves to navigate them with grace and wisdom.
And all of these threads, Ikigai, flow, resilience, community, diet, movement, mindset, they weave together to create a beautiful tapestry of well-being.
It's a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Recognizing that there are no quick fixes or magic bullets, just a commitment to living a life that's aligned with our values and aspirations.
And the sources suggest that this approach to life isn't just about adding years to our lives,
Right.
but about adding life to our years.
It's about quality over quantity, purpose over achievement, and joy over obligation.
And speaking of joy, the sources end with a collection of haikus by a Centenarian calligraphy artist named Adida.
Yes! Those were so evocative,
They are.
so full of wisdom and a deep appreciation for life.
One that particularly resonated with me was, happiness is always determined by your heart.
It's such a simple yet profound statement.
It is.
It reminds us that happiness isn't something external.
Right.
It's a choice we make, a state of being we cultivate from within.
And another haiku by Ada encourages us to keep going. Don't change your path.
Oh, wow.
It speaks to the importance of perseverance,
Yeah.
of staying true to our Ikigai, even when the going gets tough.
It's like a mantra for anyone on a journey of self-discovery and purpose.
And it brings us back to the heart of this deep dive, the search for a life that is both long and meaningful.
A life that is lived with intention, passion, and connection.
A life that embraces both the beauty and the impermanence of this world.
And the sources offer some really insightful guidance on how to make that vision a reality.
They provide a roadmap, a compass, and a gentle nudge to remind us that the journey is worth taking.
It's really inspiring, isn't it?
It is.
Learning about these Okinawan centenarians and their approach to life. It makes you want to pack a bag and immerse yourself in their world.
I know, right? The sources did a fantastic job of painting a vivid picture of their culture and way of life.
And speaking of insightful guidance,
Mm-hmm.
one of the books outlined 10 rules for finding your Ikigai.
Right.
And I thought they were so practical
Yeah.
and really captured the essence of everything we've been talking about.
I agree. Those rules provide a wonderful distillation of the wisdom we've explored,
Yeah.
offering a clear path for anyone seeking a more fulfilling and purposeful life.
The first rule, stay active, don't retire, really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about clinging to a job title.
Right.
It's about finding ways to stay engaged and contribute even after your official work is done.
Exactly. It's about continuing to learn, grow, and find new avenues for expressing your passions and talents.
Mm-hmm.
The Okinawan Centenarians demonstrate that beautifully. They never stop seeking opportunities to be useful and engaged with their community.
Rule number 2, take it slow.
Yeah,
It's a timely reminder in our fast-paced world.
it is.
It's about savoring each moment,
Right.
appreciating the journey,
Yeah.
and resisting the urge to constantly rush towards the next goal.
It's about slowing down enough to appreciate the simple things in life,
Yeah,
to connect with others, and to find joy in the present moment.
right.
The Okinawans seem to have mastered this art of finding a balance between staying active and embracing a more relaxed pace of life.
The third rule, don't fill your stomach, brings us back to harahachibu
Mhm.
and the importance of mindful eating.
Right.
It's about listening to your body's signals and eating with intention
Yeah.
rather than mindlessly filling ourselves until we're uncomfortable.
It's a reminder to treat food with respect, to appreciate its flavors and textures, and to nourish our bodies with intention.
All right.
And the Okinawan diet, with its focus on whole, unprocessed foods and portion control,
Yeah.
is a perfect example of how to put this principle into practice.
Rule number 4 emphasizes the importance of surround yourself with good friends,
Oh.
highlighting the power of connection and community.
The Okinawans have their moai,
Right.
but this principle applies to all of us.
Yeah.
Building strong social connections, nurturing our relationships,
Mhm.
and creating a sense of belonging is crucial for our well-being,
Right.
both mentally and physically.
Getting shape for your next birthday. Rule number 5 reminds us that movement is a gift, not a punishment.
I love that.
It's about finding ways to incorporate movement into our daily lives.
Right.
Whether it's dancing, gardening, taking the stairs, or simply walking more.
Yeah, the Okinawans, as we've seen, don't necessarily go to the gym,
Right.
but they find ways to stay active throughout their day,
Yeah.
and it seems to be serving them well.
Rule number 6, smile.
Yeah,
It sounds deceptively simple,
it does.
but it's a powerful reminder to cultivate a positive mindset.
It's about choosing to focus on the good, appreciating the small joys, and finding humor in the everyday.
Right.
It's about approaching life with a sense of optimism and gratitude,
Yeah.
even in the face of challenges.
Reconnect with nature. Rule number 7
Mhm.
speaks to the importance of spending time outdoors, soaking up the beauty of the natural world,
Right.
and feeling a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves.
The Okinawans have a deep respect for nature, and it's woven into their daily lives.
Right.
Whether it's tending their gardens, walking along the coast, or simply enjoying the fresh air and sunshine, they seem to understand the restorative power of nature.
Give thanks. Rule number 8
Yeah.
encourages us to cultivate a practice of gratitude.
It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have,
Yeah.
appreciating the blessings in our lives,
Right.
and expressing our thanks for the people, experiences, and opportunities that enrich our lives.
Live in the moment. Rule number 9 reminds us to embrace the present and
Look-
savor each experience as if it were the first and last time.
It's about letting go of worries about the past or future,
Yeah.
and fully immersing ourselves in the here and now. The concept of ichigo ichigi, cherishing each encounter as unique and fleeting, perfectly captures this philosophy.
And finally, rule number 10, follow your Ikigai,
Yeah.
the guiding principle that brings everything together.
It's an invitation to identify what truly makes your life worth living, to pursue your passions,
Right.
and to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to longevity or happiness.
Right, of course.
But these materials have offered us a wealth of wisdom and inspiration to draw from
Yeah.
as we navigate our own journeys.
They've provided us with a framework for living a life that is rich in purpose, connection, and joy. A life that is both long and meaningful.
And as Aida's haiku reminds us,
Right.
if happiness is determined by your heart, perhaps the most important question we can ask ourselves is, What small step can we take today to bring more of our Ikigai into our lives?
It's a beautiful invitation to reflect, to explore, and to create a life that truly reflects our deepest values and aspirations.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and keep living with purpose.